Welcome to the video. Today I'll be showing you how to complete the Concealed Void Legend Lost sector on all characters. Hunter and Warlock are mostly the same. The loadout for all three characters are also the same. On Warlock we use Wall of Radiance in order to stay alive in the boss room. The kinetic is Fatebringer, but if you're struggling to deal with the anti-barrier or the overloads, I suggest using a bow or an auto rifle, whatever suits you. We'll be using the Cartesian fusion rifle. We'll use this to, first of all, shoot the overloads with this. That will flinch him for a second or two, and then you'll have time to switch to a sleeper stimulant in order to finish the overload champions off. For the armor, the only important thing here is that you have at least 90 to 100 intellect, because if you run this too fast, you will get to the boss room without your super and it's going to be harder to stay alive, and therefore you might wipe, which is just annoying. For the exotic, I use transversives. There's no specific exotic armor here that's better than any other, in my opinion, so I just use transversives. You can use whatever you want. That's it for the Warlock. Let's get into the Warlock gameplay. The first thing you do when you get in here is just clear ads. At the start you can shoot under right here in order to kill some shanks, and also use your sleeper to kill the heavy shank behind. After doing that, use your fusion rifle to stun it like that, switch to a sleeper and finish it off. This is what we'll be doing for all the overloads. The loadout for Hunter and Warlock are mostly the same. We'll be using the same weapons. For the subclass, we're using bottom 3 Golden Gun. Pairing this with Nighthawk is really good for boss damage. Make sure that you have at least 90 intellect in order to actually have your super when you get to the boss. Sometimes you run it too fast, you get to the boss without your super, and it's just gonna make the boss room harder. The weapons, I use Fatebringer. You can use a bow or an auto rifle if you're struggling to kill any of the champions. We'll be using the Cartesian for ad clear and to kill the overload champions. What you do is you shoot the overload with this. If you hit enough damage with this, it'll flinch the overload for a second or two, giving you time to switch to a sleeper. This is a good way of dealing with the champions, as this allows you to use better weapons instead of using a bow or an auto rifle to stun the overloads. That's it for the Hunter loadout. Let's get into the Hunter gameplay. At the very start we want to clear ads. Crouch right here in order to kill some shanks and switch to a sleeper to kill the heavy shank with it. After doing that, we want to switch to our fusion rifle. Hit the overload with it. It flinches. After that you switch to your sleeper and you finish it off. That's how we will be dealing with all the overloads. The loadout for the Titan is pretty much the same as the other characters. We use the same weapons. We use Middle Tree Sunbreaker. We use this to kill the boss at the end. Make sure you have 3 stacks of Roaring Flames at the boss in order to kill it with 1 super. We use Fatebringer in a kinetic slot. If you're struggling to kill overloads or anti-barriers, use an auto rifle or a bow instead. We're using Cartesian fusion rifle. We'll use this to shoot the overloads. If you get enough damage with 1 shot on the overloads, it'll stagger them, giving you a second or 2 to pull out your sleeper in order to finish them. With this method, we don't have to use any champion mods, allowing us to use better weapons in order to get a faster clear. For the armor, we're using the Path of the Burning Steps. This is good for extra weapon damage. You can also use Synthesips. This is completely up to you. And to be fair, you could probably go without any exotic armor. A very important thing though, make sure you have at least 90, and I would recommend 100 intellect in order to have your super when you get to the boss room. If you go too fast, you'll get to the boss room without having your super. This will just make the boss room even harder. That's it for the Titan loadout. Let's get into the Titan gameplay. Focus on clearing ads at the very start. You can crouch right here in order to kill some shanks, and also kill the heavy shank with your sleeper simulator. After doing that, switch to your fusion rifle. Hit the overload with it so it staggers, switch to your sleeper and finish it off. This is how we'll be killing all the overloads. Before starting the boss fight, we have to kill these 4 enemies first. Use these 4 enemies to stack 3 times of Roaring Flames. You do this by getting 3 kills with your hammer. When you have 3 times of Roaring Flames, you do a bunch more damage. Use your Zuko this way to kill the boss.